Well, here's a question for you. What does the general public think about gender ideology in our society, in schools, in sports, getting teachers deregistered because they won't use preferred pronouns and tell a biological lie, giving teenagers puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and castrating and mutilating healthy body parts? Well, the media will never tell you what the public think. They simply push one message: affirm, affirm, affirm. Gender ideology cannot be questioned. We recently did some polling through a reputable market research company to find out what Kiwis actually think. You might be surprised. Let's check it out. So, in the poll of 1,000 New Zealanders commissioned by Family First and surveyed by Courier Market Research, yeah, we paid for it, but we didn't do the actual surveying in order to maintain the independence and accuracy. Respondents were asked a number of questions around gender ideology and the relationships and sexuality curriculum being taught in primary, intermediate and secondary schools, which we've been warning everyone about. So I want to show you the results. Now, look, we sent this data to all media outlets in New Zealand. From the larger legacy media, this has been the coverage. Yeah. Now, fortunately, we have new media outlets who are willing to debate this issue, including Reality Check Radio, The Platform, The Daily Examiner and BFD, and possibly others, blogs as well, but none of the major media outlets. So what are the results that you're not allowed to see? Well, firstly, only 1 in 10% think primary age children should be taught that they can choose their gender and that it can be changed through hormone treatment and surgery if they want it to be, while 3 out of 4, 76%, say they shouldn't be taught this stuff. A further 14% are unsure or refuse to respond. Yep, only 1 in 10 support the radical aspects of the RSE curriculum, yet the government and the Ministry of Education pressure schools to push this ideology on your children. They're totally out of step with the views and wishes of the community. Secondly, the respondents were also asked whether they would support or oppose a ban on puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, physical sex change surgeries for children under the age of 18 who want to identify as transgender. In other words, do they support or oppose the gender affirmation model, which is being virtually mandated by so-called conversion therapy laws, but which actually performs conversion therapy on young people by locking them into transgenderism? But hey, the politicians would prefer to criminalise parents who want to affirm their daughters as girls and their sons as boys. Let's criminalise a counsellor or medical professional who wants to adopt a wait and see approach with young people rather than perpetuating the gender dysphoria. Let's cut and chemicalise the body rather than heal the mind, as we would do appropriately with a young girl suffering from anorexia nervosa or a similar eating disorder. Well, is that what New Zealanders actually want, to push children towards gender ideology and transgenderism? Well, nope. More than half of New Zealanders, 54%, support a ban on gender affirmation treatment for under 18s, and just 27% disagree. 1 in 4 disagree, 19% were unsure. So just 1 in 4 want this gender affirmation model, which is being rammed down. Interestingly, 53% of the younger age group, the 18 to 40 age group, were supportive of a ban, only 29% opposing. So it's not a generational divide, oldies versus the youngies, millennials, as some would argue. Now, we also know that sports participation is also currently a big issue. So we asked views on that. Should Laurel Hubbard be able to compete in women's weightlifting? Should US biological male Leah Thomas be able to compete against women's swimmers? What do Kiwis think about this, especially at school level and for children getting into sport? Well, just 13% of respondents agree that boys who identify as girls be allowed automatic right of access to girls' sports teams, such as netball or girls' rugby or football, and vice versa. And 2 in 3, 68%, disagree. That's pretty clear, isn't it? Only 13% agree with the dumb policy of some sporting bodies. But what's interesting is a trend. Let me just show you that again, and you'll see down the bottom of each graph there, the no and the yes, is that support for picking the sport of your gender identity has dropped significantly from 39% in a similar poll in 2018, and opposition has risen from 39% in 2018 to 68% now. So in 2018, the question was, should children play in sports teams based on their gender identity or their actual biological sex? So fairly similar. This time we asked boys and girls. And lastly, remember the case of the high school math teacher who had his teaching registration cancelled after he refused to use the preferred pronouns and name for a 14-year-old student who was in the process of transitioning from a biological girl to a boy. We asked, should a teacher lose their teaching license for misgendering a trans student, refusing to use their preferred pronoun or recognize their gender identity? Only 16% of respondents said yes, they should lose their job. 2 in 3 Kiwis, 65%, said the teacher shouldn't lose their license, and a further 19% were unsure. It appears that the teaching council failed to read the room, or read the classroom in this case. But the deregistration of the teacher effectively told Kiwi teachers that if they aren't willing to fully endorse gender ideology and tell a biological lie by pretending that a boy is a girl and a girl is a boy, then they're not fit to be a teacher. Imagine if you're a biology teacher, your whole degree is a lie. But when teachers are mandated to tell biological lies or lose their careers because of a flawed and harmful ideology which involves chemicalizing and castrating vulnerable young people, then you know we're in a really dangerous place. It is not loving to affirm a lie. There's also considerable parental angst that parents can be kept out of the loop on all of this, and that a child's social transitioning may be facilitated by the school without parents being informed. That's what the Ministry of Education are telling schools. This polling, which the major media in New Zealand seem to have no intention of telling you about because, well, it doesn't fit their narrative, confirms actually that the majority of New Zealanders are becoming increasingly uncomfortable with the gender ideology curriculum and agenda being rammed down in some schools. This is what New Zealanders really think. We'll continue to call on the Ministry of Health to ban gender affirmation treatment for under 18s, to remove harmful gender ideology from the RSE curriculum, and to keep males out of women-only sports. In other words, we're calling for a return to common sense. We know it's common because the overwhelming majority of New Zealanders agree and have figured it out. It's only the media, the radical activists, and most politicians that seem to be the oddity.